The crew is calm, focused. Then a warning shout breaks the silence. A Russian Su-27 appears on radar. Fast, aggressive, closing distance. 4 seconds later, the jet flashes past the nose of the B-52. Too close. Too fast. The bomber shakes. Systems blink. Radios crackle. In that moment, everything starts to go wrong. But this is only the beginning. Stay with this video till the end to know how one dangerous pass nearly sparked a global crisis. Like the video, subscribe, press the bell icon. The B-52 Stratofortress, known as the Buff, has been a cornerstone of U.S. air power since the 1950s. Long range. High altitude and heavily armed, it patrols the skies as a deterrent. On this morning, the aircraft is on a routine NATO mission over the Baltic Sea. It's a cold, clear day, with calm winds at high altitude. The bomber's crew is experienced. Pilots, navigators, and electronic warfare officers work together in the tight, humming cockpit. Their task is simple on paper: monitor the airspace, maintain communication with NATO command, and be ready for anything. Routine, yet always tense. The geopolitical climate makes these patrols anything but ordinary. NATO and Russia have had a tense standoff in the Baltic for years. Russian jets have intercepted U.S. aircraft before, sometimes too close for comfort. In 2018, a Russian Su-27 made a dangerously close pass near a U.S. RC-135, triggering emergency maneuvers. NATO considers such incidents reckless and provocative. Moscow calls it standard air policing. Each side watches the other like hawks, knowing a mistake could escalate into something bigger. Inside the B-52, the crew is alert but relaxed. They follow their checklist. Instruments show smooth readings. Radar sweeps the empty airspace ahead. Outside, the sun reflects off the icy water. Far below, NATO ships patrol the sea lanes. At 6:40, ground control in the Combined Air Operations Center receives a radar blip from a Russian fighter launching from Kaliningrad. The Su-27 climbs to intercept. The Russian pilot is under pressure. Orders from command are strict. Identify and challenge the U.S. aircraft. Make a statement. Show strength. But the risk is high. The Su-27 is fast, agile, and highly responsive, but every maneuver carries danger. A high-speed pass near a large bomber can create dangerous turbulence. One miscalculation, 1 second too close, can be catastrophic. The pilot's experience, instincts, and judgment are all tested at once. The Su-27 scrambles and climbs to altitude. Ground control provides vectors to intercept. The pilot checks his instruments, calculates distance, and plans the approach. He knows the B-52 is massive, slow to react, and vulnerable at close range. The temptation to show off is there. Many past incidents involved aggressive passes, inverted rolls, or tail chases. The goal is psychological: to intimidate, to prove air superiority, to send a message. Meanwhile, the B-52 crew continues their patrol. They are aware of Russian activity in the area. Flight manuals dictate protocols for intercepts. The crew knows how to respond. Electronic warfare officers monitor radar for anomalies. Pilots keep steady hands on the controls. Any sudden movement could trigger warnings or alarms. The crew's mindset is disciplined, calm, focused. But even the best-trained crew can be surprised by reckless aggression. The stage is set for confrontation. The distance between the Russian Su-27 and the B-52 closes fast. At first, it is just a small blip on radar. Then, the radar signature grows larger. Visual contact confirms the fighter's presence. The pilot of the Su-27 adjusts speed. The bomber crew notices the change in behavior. They are trained for these situations. They report the approach to NATO command, but communication is brief. Seconds matter. History shows that incidents like this rarely end quietly. In 2019, a similar scenario saw a Russian jet perform multiple passes, creating dangerous turbulence and near collisions. NATO fighter jets were scrambled as a precaution. These episodes are carefully recorded, analyzed, and sometimes used in diplomatic discussions. Each near miss is a reminder of how close to superpowers operate near the edge. On this morning, the tension is palpable. The B-52 maintains altitude and speed, steady as a rock in the sky. The Su-27 approaches at over 600 miles per hour. The airspace contracts between the two aircraft. Turbulence begins to ripple across the bomber's tail. The crew can feel the air pressure changes. The situation is routine on paper, but every second is critical. A single wrong maneuver could lead to disaster. As the Su-27 closes in, both sides brace for the encounter. The B-52 crew trusts their training. The Russian pilot trusts his instincts. The Baltic Sea, calm and cold below, becomes the stage for a dangerous game of skill, nerve, and timing. The next moments will test every protocol, every decision, and every reaction. The setup is complete. The tension is high. And soon the incident that nearly changed everything will unfold. 6:42 a.m. The Su-27 is closing fast. The B-52 crew spots the fighter visually. It appears out of nowhere, sharp against the morning sky. The radar shows a rapid approach. The fighter crosses the bomber's nose at extreme speed, too close. One misjudgment could send metal and lives crashing into the sea. The first pass is aggressive, but controlled. The Su-27 rolls slightly to showcase its maneuverability. Air turbulence shakes the B-52's tail. Alarms blink briefly in the cockpit. The crew exchanges tense words. Visual, 12 o'clock high. Close, the pilot calls out. Electronic warfare officers monitor radar signatures, noting the sudden spike in readings. Seconds later, the Russian fighter comes around for a second pass, this time even closer. The Su-27 dips low, almost skimming the bomber's wing. The B-52's massive frame reacts slowly to the turbulent airflow. A warning light flashes, tail strike alert. The bomber's autopilot makes minor corrections, trying to maintain altitude and heading. The crew contacts the Combined Air Operations Center. Unidentified aircraft, proximity too close. We need escort, NATO command acknowledges. F-16s are scrambled from nearby air bases. Time is critical. The Russian pilot pushes the envelope, banking hard, rolling inverted momentarily, a daring display meant to intimidate. But something goes wrong. The Su-27 suddenly wobbles midair. A minor stall, or perhaps jet wash from the bomber's engines, disrupts airflow. The fighter shakes violently. The pilot struggles to stabilize. For a split second, the nose drops dangerously close to the B-52. Inside the bomber, the crew feels a jolt. Instruments spike. Heart rates rise. The Su-27 regains control, but the tension doesn't ease. Ground control and Kaliningrad monitors the incident in real time. The pilot reports minor turbulence but insists the pass was intentional and controlled. NATO command is unconvinced. The incident is already being logged as a dangerous maneuver. Meanwhile, the bomber crew performs emergency checks. Systems are operational, but stress is high. The B-52 is built to withstand turbulence and near collisions, but the margin for error is small. Every meter counts at these speeds. Electronic warfare officers update threat vectors, radar signatures are tracked. The approaching F-16s are now 10 minutes away. The Russian pilot decides on a third pass. This time, the approach is reckless. Banking too sharply, descending too low, the Su-27 clips the disturbed air at the bomber's wingtip. A spray of turbulence rocks the B-52. Alarms ring. The pilot yells corrections, stabilizing the aircraft just in time. The crew knows that one miscalculation could have ended in disaster. Seconds stretch like hours. The Baltic Sea below reflects the tension in the sky. NATO fighters appear on the horizon. The Russian pilot hesitates, realizing he has pushed the limits too far. Both sides slow maneuvers to avoid escalation. Radios fill with commands and warnings, the language clear but firm. Every action is being recorded for post-incident analysis. The Su-27 finally backs off, retreating toward Russian airspace. The B-52 crew maintains altitude, checking all systems. The fighter jets escorting the bomber close in, scanning the skies. The near collision is over, but the threat remains. NATO command issues immediate debrief orders. Flight logs are sent. Radar footage is reviewed. Every detail matters, from speed to distance to altitude. This incident could have ended differently. If the Russian pilot had misjudged by just a few meters, the B-52 could have been damaged. If the bomber's autopilot had failed, the outcome might have been catastrophic. But the experience and calm of the U.S. crew prevented disaster. For minutes, The Baltic airspace was a high-stakes arena of skill, nerve, and split-second decisions. The story of this dangerous encounter spreads quickly through military channels. Analysts compare it to previous buzzing incidents. Lessons are drawn. Procedures are adjusted. Both sides realize how quickly a routine intercept can escalate into a near-war scenario. The incident is a stark reminder. Even routine patrols in tense regions carry massive risk. One pilot's decision, one miscalculation, could ripple into international conflict. In the skies above the Baltic, professionalism and caution saved lives. But the threat of escalation remains just a moment away. The B-52 Stratofortress is not just a bomber. It is a flying fortress. With a wingspan of 185 feet and a maximum takeoff weight exceeding 488,000 pounds, it dominates the skies with sheer size. Its 8 turbojet engines generate massive thrust, allowing the aircraft to cruise at high altitudes for long periods. Maneuverability is slow, and close encounters with fast jets are dangerous. The aircraft relies on autopilot and stabilizers to maintain steady flight, especially when turbulence strikes. Small adjustments by the pilots prevent stress on the airframe, but extreme turbulence can push it to its limits. The crew inside is specialized. Pilots handle navigation and control, while electronic warfare officers scan for threats and radar anomalies. The navigator calculates headings and monitors fuel. Single misread can affect stability. Each crew member has a clear role, trained for emergencies and high-pressure incidents. Even with training, the crew feels every jolt. Close encounters with high-speed fighters amplify risks, as the B-52 is slow to react to sudden changes in air pressure. The Russian Su-27 is a different machine entirely. A lightweight, highly agile air superiority fighter, it can reach speeds over Mach 2.35. Its thrust-to-weight ratio allows it to perform extreme maneuvers, like rolls, loops, and high-speed dives. But these same abilities come with risk. Jet wash from the B-52 creates turbulent air that can disrupt airflow over the Su-27's control surfaces. At close range, even small mistakes in angle or speed can result in a stall or loss of control. Jet wash is a critical factor in this incident. As the B-52 flies, its engines push massive amounts of air backward, creating turbulence. For a smaller fighter trailing too close, this can lift the wings unpredictably or affect engine intakes.
Ow.
In this incident, the Su-27 experienced slight instability during its passes. The pilot compensated instinctively, but turbulence at high speed magnifies every movement. Even a skilled pilot faces extreme risk when crossing the bomber's wake at less than a few hundred feet. Distance calculations in these maneuvers are critical. The first pass was reportedly within 200 feet of the B-52's nose. The second pass dropped to under 150 feet, speeds of 600 to 650 miles per hour. The margin for error is fractions of a second. Autopilot systems on the B-5 to help stabilize the bomber, but they cannot correct for sudden turbulence from a nearby fighter. Small vibrations translate into sudden jolts felt by the crew, and instruments respond instantly. Communication protocols play a major role in preventing accidents. NATO pilots follow strict rules during intercepts, maintain visual on the target, avoid crossing its flight path, and communicate clearly via secure channels. Russian intercept procedures differ but share similar priorities: identification, challenge, and maintaining separation. In this incident, misjudgment on timing, speed, and maneuver choice pushed the limits of both protocols. The B-52's defensive sensors also contributed to safety. Radar systems detect nearby aircraft, measure speed and heading, and calculate potential threat zones. Electronic warfare officers can monitor changes in radar signature or unusual maneuvers. The crew spotted the fighter visually and on instruments, giving them critical seconds to react. These systems are vital in avoiding collisions, but they depend on trained personnel to interpret the data correctly. Mechanical risk factors in the Su-27 also played a role. High-speed passes require precise throttle and control inputs. If air intakes are disrupted or G-forces mismanaged, engine performance can drop temporarily. In this incident, the sudden wobble may have been caused by intake turbulence combined with a sharp roll. The pilot corrected quickly, but the danger was immediate. Even minor damage or miscalculation at this speed could have led to catastrophe. The combination of aircraft design, aerodynamics, and human skill determined the outcome. The B-52's stability allowed it to absorb turbulence, while the Su-27's agility enabled rapid corrections. Both crews relied on training, instinct, and situational awareness. The incident demonstrates how aircraft characteristics, pilot skill, and environmental factors intersect. One wrong calculation and a routine intercept becomes a near disaster. In the end, understanding these technical details shows why this encounter was so dangerous. Size, speed, turbulence, and control limits all play a role. Each aircraft had strengths and vulnerabilities. Each pilot had to react perfectly. The Baltic airspace became a laboratory of physics and skill, where small errors could have massive consequences. After the third near pass, the situation begins to stabilize, but tension remains high. The Russian Su-27 pulls back toward its airspace, its pilot visibly shaken. Flight data and radar logs indicate the fighter came within 150 feet of the B-52, far closer than standard intercept protocols allow. The bomber maintained steady altitude and heading. Crew members run systems checks, confirming all instruments and controls are fully operational. For the first time in several tense minutes, the crew allows themselves a moment of relief. NATO fighters, including F-16s from nearby bases, arrive in formation to escort the B-52. Their presence deters further aggressive action. Communication between NATO command and the bomber crew confirms the Russian jet has disengaged. Ground-based radar tracks the Su-27 returning toward Kaliningrad. Both sides record the incident for post-mission analysis. The near collision is already flagged as a serious breach of safety and international norms. Diplomatic fallout begins quickly. Within hours, NATO issues a statement condemning the reckless maneuver. Moscow responds with denial, claiming the intercept followed international law and that the B-52 posed a potential threat. Analysts in both countries review flight footage, radar data, and crew reports. Military experts note how the Russian pilot's aggressive approach violated basic intercept procedures. It also highlights the skill and professionalism of both crews that prevented a disaster. The incident triggers internal reviews. NATO evaluates patrol procedures over sensitive regions, updating rules of engagement and adding additional escort requirements for bombers in higher-risk areas. The U.S. Air Force increases training emphasis on extreme intercept scenarios, simulating aggressive maneuvering by smaller fighters. Russian military leadership reviews pilot conduct, emphasizing both aggression and the risk to their own forces. On a personal level, the crews involved feel the weight of the event. For the B-52 crew, the experience reinforces the value of discipline, teamwork, and training under pressure. The Russian pilot, while celebrated internally for demonstrating courage, is reminded of the fine line between boldness and recklessness. Both sides recognize that a single miscalculation could have escalated into a military conflict. In the days following, military analysts dissect the incident in detail. Reports highlight how jet wash, altitude, and speed differentials created a near-disaster scenario. Lessons are drawn for future intercepts, emphasizing distance, communication, and restraint. The Baltic Sea patrols continue, but with heightened awareness of how quickly routine operations can turn dangerous. The outcome, while calm in the immediate sense, leaves a clear warning. Even a routine intercept over international waters carries immense risk. Small errors at high speed can produce large consequences. The incident becomes a case study in aviation safety, international tension, and the delicate balance between deterrence and provocation. The incident over the Baltic Sea is a stark reminder of how thin the line between routine operations and disaster really is. One pilot's decision, one aggressive maneuver, could have triggered an international crisis. Both aircraft were performing standard missions in contested airspace, yet a few seconds of misjudgment nearly changed everything. This is the reality of modern military aviation: massive machines, high speeds, and human decision-making all collide in an environment where errors are unforgiving. Aircrews are highly trained, disciplined, and experienced. Yet even the best training cannot remove the inherent risks of high-speed intercepts. The B-52 crew relied on procedure, instruments, and calm thinking to navigate the danger. The Russian pilot, skilled and daring, pushed the limits of his aircraft, The intersection of human skill and machine capability determined the outcome. For a moment, lives and international relations hung in the balance. These encounters are not rare. NATO and Russian aircraft have had close encounters in the Baltic, the Black Sea, and other contested regions for decades. Each event provides lessons for future missions. Standard protocols are designed to prevent escalation, but they rely on adherence by all parties. A single lapse, a miscalculation of speed or distance, can result in collisions, diplomatic crises, or worse. Beyond the technical and procedural aspects, there is a human story. Air crews face enormous pressure. Split-second decisions can mean life or death. The stakes extend beyond the cockpit. International stability and global security are indirectly in their hands. This incident underscores the responsibility borne by every pilot and every crew member operating in these tense regions. Finally, this event serves as a reminder of the fragility of peace. Nations patrol, intercept, and challenge each other in the sky, often just meters apart. Aggression and misjudgment can escalate quickly. The professionalism displayed by both crews prevented disaster, but it also highlights how easily things could have gone wrong. The skies above the Baltic, like other strategic regions, remain a high-stakes environment where every maneuver is critical. The Russian Su-27's aggressive buzz, the B-52's steady resilience, and the NATO response together illustrate a balance of skill, caution, and chance. Military aviation is a world of precision and risk, where the smallest error can have the largest consequences. This incident, though,